So meeting to order. Wednesday, December the 11th at 10, whatever it is, 10:03, and to acknowledge that we are in the traditional territory of the Stahelis. And roundtable introductions, Amanda?
Sure, yeah, I thought since it's your first accessibility committee meeting, we could do a little introduction.
Sure.
I don't know if you want to start, and then we can work our way around.
Sure. Stephanie Gallimore, I am the Executive Director of Harrison Garrison.
Jerry Mayotte, and I live in Harrison, resident.
And has dogs.
As dogs.
And has a dog.
Shell DeMartin, and I am also a resident here in Harrison Hot Springs, have been for a long time, and a business owner as well.
And two dogs.
2 dogs.
Leo Fascio, Councillor and Chair of this committee.
Christy Evans, I'm the Community Services Manager for the village.
I'm Amanda Graham. I've talked to you guys a lot on email. Preferred officer with the village.
I'm Kaylee Wieshman. I'm the Community Services Clerk.
Okay, any delayed items? Being none. Approval of the agenda, moved by Stephanie, seconded by Michelle, yes. Thank you. We'll get into that in a minute, but anyway, just to get through this. Call the question, all in favour? Nobody opposed, thank you. Adoption of the minutes. That's the accessibility committee meetings of October the 9th. Here. And there's Sharon, just in time. There you go.
All right.
Yes.
Thanks. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Just down to the adoption of the minutes, Sharon.
Sure. Thank you.
Need a move by Stephanie, seconded by Sharon.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay.
If you've read them, any errors or omissions, you need a minute. Okay, good. Call the question, all in favour? Nobody opposed, thank you. And the items for discussion, Amanda.
Sure, yeah. Item for discussion number 1 is the council procedure bylaw and committee reporting structure. So what I'll do is just give a very kind of high level overview of how the committee works and kind of what to expect. So I don't think I actually provided a copy to Stephanie and Sharon before, but they are included in this recent package. Yeah, so there's a copy of 2 bylaws that apply to committees of council in the village. So there's the council procedure bylaw. There's also the code of conduct bylaw. So those are long reads. Feel free to take them away and read them. And if you ever have any questions about them at all, just come let me know, give me a phone call, send me an email, stop by the office. We can go through them together. They're a little bit more detailed than I think the committee really needs in order to operate, but they're there in case we need them. So yeah, the basics are motions get moved and seconded. Anyone on the committee can do that, and everyone, after discussion, everyone's had a chance to discuss the motion on the floor, then we take a vote and go from there. So what will happen normally, and this committee operates a little differently than the other committees that the village has because it's mandated by the Accessibility Act, Accessible BC Act, thank you. So there are a couple of mandates that are given to this committee by legislation as opposed to the other council committees where items have to be referred from council. So there still can be items referred from council to this committee, but there's also a little bit of an opposite direction of information where, you know, we look at an accessibility plan and things that don't necessarily come directly from council. So there's that as well. So normally what will happen at these committee meetings is we'll have a couple reports you'll see that we have the accessibility feedback there as a standing item. So that's a web portal, I guess, or a feedback mechanism on our website. Yeah, where people can provide feedback, and we'll kind of bring anything we get in between meetings to this committee for discussion. And then normally there will be a couple reports, some verbal updates, and any recommendations that this committee makes that need council approval will go to council in the form of a report through the chair at a regular council meeting. And then council will discuss the recommendation and support it or amend it or return it back for more information and kind of flow that way. So yeah, that's kind of my brief overview.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you ever come up with some items of discussion you think should be on the agenda, just let Amanda know the Wednesday before the meeting, normally about a week before. And if it's an item we can put in the agenda, we'll add it to the agenda as well. And of course, you do have the option like this number 2, introduction of late items as well. Something comes up at the actual meeting. Jerry.
Just a comment, because of course I didn't see this package, right? And just because I do hear a lot of talk around the village, right? It had concerned me, and I'm happy to know we have a code of conduct. But I'm wondering, because I haven't read it all, does it really stress, this code of conduct, that it is an advisory committee? Because my impression is that some people seem to think that the committee itself, not our committee, but committees in general, come up with ideas and they move forward with everything. And I just thought if it doesn't already really stress that it's an advisory committee, that might help with some of the, do you understand where I'm going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Carry on, man.
Sure, yeah, committees are, they're also legislated by the community charter. So there are 2 types in the community charter. There's a select committee and a standing committee. And really the difference is the composition and who's on them. So in this case, we can only have 1 member or at least 1 member of council on it. In a standing committee, you would have half the members would have to be council. But just by virtue of the legislation and our council procedure bylaw, they're all an extension of council. So they exist at the will of council, except for the accessibility committee, which is again legislated, mandated. But the other ones exist at the will of council, and normally a select committee exists for a specific purpose. And once that select committee is completed its mandate, they dissolve. So yeah, they are an extension of council. They're responsible to council. You'll see all the committees report back to council, get direction from council. I think one thing, so you'll see I've given you a copy of our council procedure bylaw. I am working on a new one that clarifies the language of committees, and if and when that goes to council and gets support, of course you would get a copy of any updated bylaw. But yeah, kind of hoping to clarify that relationship between council and committees a little bit.
Did that answer your question, Jerry?
Yeah, I think so, right? It's just concerning because a lot of people seem to think that their committee can just do it all, right? And I've tried to explain how committees, my impression was that it would work as you're saying, right? But I just thought maybe by really stressing advisory, that might clarify it for some people. Thank you.
Yeah, whether it's these committees that we've got, accessibility, the environmental, or the advisory planning commission, they're all there to discuss, review, and it all goes back to council for their final decision on whatever may come forward. So it's, as you say, it's advisory. You know, it's not set in stone, but council at their discretion will say yes, but we do agree with another sidewalk for the handicap, or we don't, depending on the costs. Same with the APC, we do agree with the width of that building, or we don't. But then again, it's up to council to say A or nay. So it's, but the idea is that all meetings of council do have to abide by the procedure bylaw and the code of conduct as prescribed in the legislation. Okay, next, anything else for Amanda on protocol or? Oh, yeah, good. Who's next? Is Christy?
I'm up. Thank you. I just wanted to bring a brief report back, as well as thank you for those who were able to attend the Accessible Parking Awareness event. So on page 5 of the agenda package, I just pulled the report together. I'll just go through a few of the highlights. So November is designated as Accessible Parking Awareness Month, and through Spark BC, the village applied for and successfully received a $500 grant to support hosting and promoting an event. So on Tuesday, November 19th, the village hosted an event starting at Memorial Hall. The group had a roundtable discussion over coffee surrounding accessibility barriers and issues in the village before conducting a walking tour and discussing the current accessible parking stalls along the beachfront. There was a lot of great discussions had and ideas brought up, so I've got a big list of them there. A lot of these are roadway kind of improvements, so there will definitely need to be more conversations internally on some of these things, but really great to get feedback from those who have faced accessibility barriers. As well, Kaylee pulled up a bit of a map here of where the current accessible parking stalls are that we looked at. And one of the focuses that we want to see about taking some actions on would be ensuring that these stalls have ramp access and letdowns. Those are kind of the key things that were not clearly defined in some of the areas. And so we'll have a bit of work to do on that internally, I think, as to perhaps adding or shifting the locations to make sure it makes sense if it's not as feasible to be changing the letdowns perhaps on all of the sidewalk entries. There was also great discussion on some of the parking stalls and the idea that 15 minutes might not be quite adequate for those with mobility challenges looking to make a shorter stop, and the free parking areas perhaps being too far away for those with accessibility challenges. Yeah, so lots of really great feedback, lots more to think about, I think, and just wanted to present sort of all those thoughts and feedback to the committee.
Thank you.
Oh, I guess I did put a recommendation, so I should do that. So it was just that the Community Services Manager's report regarding the Accessible Parking Awareness event be received for information.
So we need a mover and a seconder for that. Moved by Jerry, seconded by Stephanie. Discussion. Carry on, Michelle.
I just have, going back, a question. So I'm thinking it's gonna come up at the end for the feedback. It was feedback from a community member about accessible washrooms. I'm just not sure as to when I should bring that.
I think if you receive feedback individually, then sharing it during the accessibility feedback standing item would be a good format.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good place to post that moving forward. Put that down. So don't forget.
Any further questions on that? I would just like to say, coming January, we'll be having our first January, February, our first budget discussions, sorting out the budget and how things are going to work out. So I can see just looking at these 6 bullets here that I think one should be for discussion at the budget meeting, number 2 and number 5. I think the discussion of the height of of the toilets in the washroom, but I think that's going to be a major cost to do that thing. Michelle?
Okay, so this kind of ties in with that about, so the friend that I was discussing they have an adult child with a disability who doesn't live in the community, but they do, so he comes to visit often. But they do not have an accessible washroom to use. As a woman taking care of an adult man in the washroom with
Oh, I
not
see.
neurodivergent. She was saying that the porta potty is very echoey, and for people suffering with neurodivergence, like sounds can be very harsh, and it's just they have nowhere to go to assist him in the washroom. And also, you know, like just certain features in the washroom too, so.
So,
You know, something like almost like a building the size of the ones at the Rendell Park. Something like that would be,
oh, that size,
yeah,
or both, like the men's and the ladies, or
so
just
that it could be like a family,
Gender neutral
Yeah.
family.
yeah.
That's what we are installing at Spring Park eventually, whenever it shows up, one of those is being installed there. So now I know I'm picturing the same thing as you.
Yeah, and not to have things like hand dryers, like have,
Yeah.
have no paper towels instead, and
Because of the noise.
And- and just a simple thing, there's always a lack of hooks for people who have, you know, they're gonna have supplies and hang a bag, or maybe even just a quick fold down shelf. Those ones that,
is there a specific name for these sort of washrooms that it would have to go? I mean, so people would know that if it did go through, that we have one of these,
well, it would just be an fully accessible.
Yeah.
or fully accessible.
Yeah. Yeah, so she was saying she just has nowhere to take him as currently.
While we're talking on that, I have a friend who has physical limitations. And she said to me, the one thing that makes it so difficult for her is that any of the handicapped washrooms, she feels strongly should have safety bars. That there should be safety bars, right? So that they can hold on to a bar as well, because some of, you know, with mobility issues, or you just sometimes need that extra. If you don't have a counter right beside the toilet, like you're in trouble. So that was something she spoke to me about, right?
There should be wall bars on them.
There should be, but it's one of those things that until I am ensuring I'm looking for that specifically, then as someone who doesn't need it, I think it's something that we can sometimes overlook, so.
She's a
Since I haven't been in them recently, I don't want to say
She's
that
a
we have
retired
them
doctor,
alone,
so she feels like that's something for the village to consider.
Yeah,
Well, it
absolutely.
should be.
It's a standard.
I feel like it should be, yeah.
Yeah,
should be.
because you don't wanna be hauling yourself on a counter either, cause it's
No,
not made
danger.
for that. That's
No.
dangerous.
That's interesting.
So that, what Michelle was talking about, Christy, I'm just guessing, that sounds to me it could be for a fund, to
Yeah,
apply for a fund to build, and then find a location where it would go, so it's.
I know we have had other people bring up just in general, the location, the stretch between where the boat launch washrooms are and where the plaza washrooms are, that it is a long way. So my first initial thought is if we could somehow fund one, then it would go kind of in the middle and be that sort of happy medium. And ideally, it's also near a ramp access up and
Maybe somewhere.
checks
near
all the
Memorial-
boxes.
Somewhere near Memorial Hall.
Yeah, that's kind of center, isn't it?
And yeah, also there's just nothing west of the.
Up there either.
Yeah.
No.
And I know we discussed about the lack of ramping down there, but that might come in the future as well, right? So
Absolutely.
that would be, there's no washroom down that way either.
Now, another quick thing to add is the washrooms, do you wanna make them more durable and not just ceramic or toilets, like, you know, ones in Chilliwack down at Rotary Park, they have like metal, like they're really durable, like they're,
Oh,
if we, you know, that way they don't get damaged or vandalized, but they can be more long-term,
Long-term,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, if you look at Rotary Park in Chilliwack,
Mhm.
their toilets, you'll see in that, right by the park there, there's really good, and there's a code, it has a light to say that someone's in
Mhm.
there, and just really well done, I thought.
Yeah.
Not accessible wise, but I think as far as durability and
Yeah,
long-term, it's better.
take some of those features.
I think it would be good, yeah. And handrails. Definitely need a handrail, wall bars.
Yeah, because we're also looking at
Some of them pull down, you know, you can
the
just.
push buttons, right? To make sure
Yes.
we have them everywhere.
Mhm.
Um,
But it's nice to have a flip-up rail as a wheelchair user, because it's nice for transfers to go on and off the toilet, and then if somebody needs it, they can use it in a regular way too, so you flip them up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good, just a suggestion there for that. And lighting, I don't know, good lighting in there. That's what I found, the Rotary Park doesn't have very good lighting. Yeah, it's kind of some, I don't know, solar light or something in there, I don't know.
side issue, but I know that some of the parks in Chilliwack, they want to make sure that they have the clean facilities, but also don't want anyone staying there longer than they
Right,
need to do.
right, and you kind of need to think that way
Balance
here.
that way.
We're growing here too, and BC Transit is looking at extending to Mission now from Eggsy. So
Yes.
you never know what you're gonna get now, so I think it's good to plan ahead. Yeah.
that could happen next year. We're working on that with the regional district.
It'll
On
change
that.
the demographics
Agassiz
coming in
to
and out.
Mission, yeah.
I don't think we need a motion on this, but just as a staff suggestion that I would like myself and Kaylee to do would be to do a bit of an inventory on what the facilities are looking like. Anything that is being labeled as an accessible washroom in the village, and just bring something back to the committee so that everyone doesn't have to go out on their own and hunt down all our washrooms. So that's just something that I would like us to bring back to the committee for a future meeting for discussions and your feedback on things like if there's something else that we might not have thought of yet.
Right.
I think that could be great. So we'll work on pulling something together.
Would it
And
make sense
I'd be
to
happy
have,
to join.
like, if you can find funding to do it, like, if there's no grant out there or something, but to bring in someone like Access BC to provide that kind of audit, just because they have a real lens for it. They know exactly what they're looking for, and they've got a checklist, and you can really find out what your, where you stand with it too.
Spark BC also probably has that,
Right, yeah.
Yeah, good idea.
I think.
so Christie, what, I don't know, there's going to be another meeting before the next budget meeting. Council sort of hasn't decided, not just for this committee, but for all the committees, how often they're going to meet, you know.
Yeah.
So if there's some budgetary items there we can add to the budget, I think that should be added to for Scott to have it on his list when he starts working on the budget. Things that we, you know, I mean, the things I just brought up are simple things. The washrooms and the bars, the seats, the ramps on the railings.
The railing, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a big deal. Now, the let downs, of course, that's a cutting out concrete slabs and pouring in the new ramps as well. So that it could be added as part of the sidewalk portion of the budget on that. And then when you come back with a report on this suggested washroom, then we can maybe in between or after, you can start looking at if there is funding for that, or whether there's somewhere in our budget that we can finance that. Because that's a very important issue, you know. I mean, the days you're just putting in ramps and press buttons and rails, and geez, now it's is you have to, like Michelle just brought up, I never thought of that, of these different medical cases that you, people have that, you have to have a special place for them to go to. So it's, I'm not sure how the other communities are dealing with this. Has there been any research regarding Vancouver or Victoria or even Finlay, whether they have these particular type of washrooms?
I think more are just going to those sort of separate, any gender, any abilities
Yeah.
ones,
Yeah.
like single
And anyone
ones,
can
and
use it.
yeah,
Everyone.
everyone can use it. Because I hadn't really ever considered the scenario that you laid out, like a female with an adult
Yeah.
male.
Yeah, there's mixed gender.
And with additional challenges on top of that,
Yeah.
then that definitely makes it for a struggle to try and figure out what the best options are for them, right? So,
I have a question too. Have Spark BC ever worked with Harrison?
yeah, I've got some great contacts there.
Okay, because I did a lot of reading. I was looking at the plans in Whistler and White Rock. I was looking for communities similar to ours, just to kind of see what was out there. And I noticed that. The other thing I noticed was that recommendations had been made in several places for full-sized changing spaces in universal washrooms, which is similar to what you're, you know, full-size changing spaces in universal washrooms. And you look at, also you look at parents who have older children who aren't able to walk, right? And they need even tables sometimes, right? I'm not sure how that works because I haven't read all the rules. But just something.
Yeah, I know in the school system, they, for children who are multi-handicapped, they have like a lift and a table.
Yeah.
To allow them to help with transfers too, so that's pretty elaborate.
But a
setup,
table
it
might-
could be
a table
would
might
suffice
Would
probably.
suffice. I'm sure we can't put
Mhm.
lifts in.
Just like you have change table for babies, it's just, it's just bring it home.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anything else, Christy?
That was all I had on item B.
Any more suggestions for I call the question on this recommendation?
Yeah.
Ideas? No? All in favor of the recommendation? Nobody opposed? Thank you. Okay, who's next, Christy?
Accessibility grant. I've been holding this one inside because I wanted to wait to tell the committee, but we were successful in our $25,000 grant application. So this one will all be getting worked right into Scott's budget, so it's nice when we know in advance of that. So that will be automatic doors for any of the accessible washrooms. Upgrading some of our public facility signage, specifically surrounding washrooms to include Braille. The addition of 2 accessible picnic tables. I have some street marking and signage for looking at some additional accessible parking stalls, as well as some staff training and website modifications for accessibility. So I'm really excited that, so thank you to the first 2 committee members and council for letting us push through that first accessibility plan. I know I could have kept working on it forever, but since we were able to attach that with the grant application, it was a quick, easy process, and now we'll get to start seeing some quick wins, which is great, and then continue to, look to expand and, the next plan to be a bit more in detail and things like that, but this gives us a really great starting point, so good news.
Wonderful, great
Yeah.
news. We also got 15 grand for the age friendly. didn't we?
Yeah.
Age-friendly
Oh, that
committee,
one, right,
15
yeah,
grand.
right.
Yeah, we'll do an announcement about this one now, I just wanted to wait, and
Yeah,
nice to tell committees in person first,
yeah, you know, before council, yeah.
Yeah.
Well done, Christy.
Thank you.
And Kaylee. Okay, any questions on the grant? Oh, just helps us along the way there with some of the projects, that's fantastic. D, sorry.
Accessible playground. We'll have a digital invite coming out your way, but since we were meeting today and it hasn't quite gone out yet, we're going to be hosting a grand opening ribbon cutting event at the Accessible Beachfront Playground next Friday, December 20th at 1 p.m. You're all welcome to attend if that works in your calendars. We are really excited about the progress happening there and should be wrapped up shortly. And yeah, looking forward to having that open and available.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's absolutely fantastic that children play. I've never seen anything like it in all the years anywhere. That is unbelievable. I mean, I just thought it was going to be a plain black surface, you know, cushion surface. My God, with the colours and the fish and I think it's a sturgeon, whatever it's in there. And it's all the different colours, and that's all been changed, sand colours. And it's just, kids are coming up with their parents, where can we go? They're just waiting to get on there.
And then, I can't remember if I've told this group yet, but the budget didn't allow for the rubber surfacing under where the swings are. But our goal is to seek additional grant funding to do that so that it is more inclusive up on that portion as well.
Well, that's good, the 20th.
I'm awake again.
We'll take pictures. Keely will take pictures.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll eat your cake instead.
Okay.
Coffee.
Any questions on the playground? Well, I hope we can all make it. I'm not sure if we have any dignitaries coming with it.
They are being invited.
Good.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if we get somebody from the province to come for that.
Mhm.
Wonderful. And the weather's holding off fantastic. I
I
can't believe
know.
this
It's been
December
really
so
good.
far.
Still potential for rain, but yeah, it's been good so far.
Okay, E.
I just had 2 items for discussion. One was submitted through our accessibility feedback form on our website. And there is an option on this to submit anonymously, and this one didn't include any information for a response back, but their recommendation was that it says on Lillooet at Spring Park, there is one accessibility parking spot. For 6 years, we have watched many young adults park their vehicles in the summer especially. The vehicles sit there all day with no permit. We have even occasionally tried to point out it's permit parking. It would be good if this parking spot could be monitored or have extra signage to discourage this behavior.
Where's it?
Spring
Oh,
Park.
Spring. Okay.
I know that parking lot in general is not very clearly marked,
No.
so this is great feedback for us to have to then bring for looking at areas in the budget for next year, I think, too. And definitely, our bylaw is gonna be going there more now as we've added, or we will be installing a barbecue pedestal at Spring Park, so our bylaw team is gonna be increasing their monitoring of Spring Park in general, so this will be a good thing that they can be watching as well. Do they take it for that? They must, right?
I'll have to double check our highway and traffic bylaw.
Oh, is that the one that they made?
That must be, if it's on Lillooet,
yeah,
I
that's
just
true.
pulled it up on my computer to
Yeah.
get a good sense, but it's the one that's right at the crosswalk there. Between Lillooet as you go to cross to
Oh, in my brain, I was thinking even like,
on Eagle.
no, yeah.
Eagle and
Yeah.
the opposite
the
bear,
actual, like,
Eagle and
in-
bear.
I think Lillooet though.
That would be
is
Lillooet, you're right.
This
That's
one
that
here,
one.
yeah, it's the first parking stall after the crosswalk.
Okay.
I can't remember the names of all the condos, but
Cascade.
I think that's Cascade Bay, that one, yeah, I think Cascade, yeah. So there is one
Okay.
here, but yeah, I think like a larger sign, and then
Yeah.
definitely from a bylaw enforcement perspective, we can double check the fine amount. And
I think it's 250.
is it? Okay, I'll double check.
Alberta, it's more than
Yeah, and then just increasing, like you said, we're gonna have increased patrols in there anyways, especially in the summer, just because of the barbecue pedestal, just to make sure people are not using charcoal briquettes. And using an appropriately sized barbecue, so yeah, I think that's probably the stall that they were
Yeah.
commenting on.
Okay.
Sorry, did the accessibility feedback say it was families they see most often?
Young adults.
Young adults, okay. Okay, So funding for signage. I
Yeah.
guess.
And will that cover space for each of them? Like, yeah.
Yes. That's our plan. We're working on an updated rental policy and fee bylaw that will go to council in early 2025.
And then the two accessible picnic tables, those are those both on the main beach or is like where are they going to?
I think one was going to be at Spring Park for sure, and then I'm not sure yet. I just put budget in and it gets me about 2. There is one existing accessible picnic table, but it's in kind of, I think just kind of like a random spot in the plaza where they underneath one of those
Oh, okay.
shade structures. And it's one of the tables that has like a checkerboard on top.
Mhm.
So there is like technically like one spot there, but we were also just discussing internally, me and Kaylee, and I haven't seen it anywhere, so maybe someone in this group has. So the accessible picnic tables that I think I like better just have sort of like an extension on the end, rather than them being sort of more hexagonal and just lacking a spot.
Fans are best.
But then what I was wondering is if there is anywhere that creates just like a little decal, because I was like, what then emphasizes that this would be like an accessible
Yeah,
bench. So if you're like at the plaza, say, and you're sitting and enjoying your thing at your meal, and then you witness that there is someone approaching in a wheelchair, I feel like there should be some kind of visual cue that then I would
all the.
recognize
ones,
that and like move myself to a different table, because I probably wouldn't have realized it, or leave it.
Yeah, all the ones at Greenpoint have an accessible. decal.
Okay, so there is like a decal.
There is.
Okay, I'm gonna review that. Okay, green
It's a good
point.
idea.
Yeah, I was like, there must be a way so that it can kind of
Mhm.
highlight to
It really
everyone who
puts it
might
in
not
that
even like
place,
notice,
like
just to, yeah. Okay,
You
perfect.
can even have something on there that's like, be a good neighbor.
Yeah.
Like, if you notice someone in need of this bench.
Yeah,
On the website, are you gonna have a map of accessible areas?
that's what I would like
Yeah.
us to get to for sure too, yeah, and kind of highlight in like each park sort of what the accessible features are.
And then
So,
there's an app out that does that. too.
yes, I have that one handy. Okay, perfect. So yeah, so that was the one feedback. And then the other one, I just made a note from Counselor Facio, who had mentioned that there were some individuals in town who require additional household waste due to some of their individual needs. So I just wanted to bring that up here and sort of discuss what we sort of think. I'm not sure kind of like what a comfortable process would look like for something, if like a household wanted to apply for additional waste tags due to accessibility needs. What that would look like, if people would be comfortable. The main thing is you just don't want everyone taking advantage of something like this, but then I was like, maybe if there's a way that if it comes through the accessibility committee still, then maybe it's not as like highlighted to the whole broad community. It's more highlighted on the accessibility page and through the support of committee members who may know people who require that. I feel like it would be a small budgetary investment to provide additional tags to the limited people that require it, but I just wanted to bring it here for
It's
discussion and
basically,
insight.
medical garments that
Yeah,
could be 2 or 3 bags, I mean. We're allowed 1 black. And the whole idea of this whole black bag situation is to cut down on the land Bailey site at Chilliwack, where it all goes to reduce waste. But if you need the extra bags, you get a tag. I mean, we do, we buy $2.50, you get an extra tag, to attach it to your bag. But there may be, if the, either the you're referring to, or if the company knew when they get to number 432 or 431, they got 3 bags, that's fine, we know that's already been allocated for, that would save this situation of people taking liberties with the extra tag situation, that might be the easiest way.
And also, sorry, also like too, sometimes when people might feel singled out if they're like having to apply for
Yes.
the extra
Yeah.
tags too, right?
Yeah. So that might be the easiest way, if the company was informed of the number of the home, and then, no, that's it, they've got 3 bags, that's fine.
So would it be, that's what I'm trying to balance, you know,
Yeah.
like clearly someone needs to, someone would need to self-identify. Or explain some sort of need, and then I know it's not the same, but I know that like at rec centers, some of them, you have to show your income statement, and then you get a lower or minimal fee like membership. So I'm like, well, if some communities are asking people to share very personal financial information, maybe sending an email, a quick, like maybe it's just like an email, like, but outlining that this is an accessibility based need and they anticipate that it would be an additional 2 bags every garbage pickup or whatever it might look like. I don't know.
Carry on, Joe.
I was wondering if maybe reaching out to Kent or to Chilliwack and see how they handle that type of situation. Because again, you could put stickers, but then I guess you're right, then it singles someone out, right? If they applied through the village office and they got stickers that they put on those bags, right? Because I doubt it's gonna be hard for, to rely on the garbage company. Because in our building, we have mainly seniors, and we have our, the big dumpsters behind the doors, and they push them in and they're down. And trust me, when they're down and they're so heavy, if you've got any type of arthritis or anything, it's almost impossible to push those up. And people have tried again and again, and the companies instruct their staff, but then you're at the mercy of the staff, because some people are more diligent than others. Some people just don't remember, right? So you almost need, right, to have something. And like you said, at the rec center and places like that, people who are on reduced incomes often do get certain advantages, right? But no one else is really aware of it because it's worked out through that individual and, right?
Yeah.
And the municipality. So if someone's putting out 3 bags, if they've already
Have a sticker on it, because anyone can buy the
have
sticker.
something, it doesn't have to be
Yeah,
anything
No, it
really
would-
great either. but
Yeah, no,
just
it would just be the same
something-
sticker that anyone can purchase.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you just give them those stickers, right?
I think that's kind of the way that I would like it to go.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's the simplest way. If you're relying on the company to just know, there's a lot of room for error there.
Okay, so if the person makes an email, the applicant
Request, then
email,
we could,
and then you can say that, so it's every second week, isn't it? So that's, so just give them the stickers for the year, give them the stickers for the year, and that's it. You want to have that coming every week or every month, give them the stickers for the year, if it's 20 or 30, whatever it may be, and that's done. It's out the way. And then make the application, have good reason, obviously, and that will resolve, I think, if you do it on a monthly basis, that will resolve the people taking advantage of the situation.
I think too, Keely can comment on this, it could even just be something that they receive the feedback at reception, because Kaylee and Vivian could probably speak on who comes in and has to buy more tags. And so if we can, just kind of narrow down what the needs are.
Some people too may already have cards, like from Spark BC, but not necessarily, right? But even if they do have to share something from their doctor, just initially to get started,
And I don't even know if it needs to be like that extensive.
Well, we get four in January, automatically from the garbage company. They give you four with your schedule for the year. At that time, you give if there is somebody, you give them the set amount for the year.
I am part of a group of colleagues throughout the province who work in accessibility, so I was gonna ask them if they are aware of anything in their own communities. I have a feeling a lot of the larger communities just make everyone pay. If I had to hazard a guess, but it is one of those things that I would
But it's very difficult because of
to
some
see happen
families,
if we
the
can.
people are on already a very restricted income.
Mm,
You know, that makes it very difficult.
Yeah,
Well, and you think too, other people have children and they're in diapers and stuff like that. They have lots of refuse for a while and then the kids grow up, they don't need, you know what I mean? We're all kind of in that kind of, someone might refute it, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know how strict our company is,
Yeah.
not our company, the company that we contract, on whether they bother to even look at if there's 3 bags, whether they even bother to look at if there is a sticker on there or not. I have no
I
idea.
think that they do.
They do, okay.
I think so.
They're quite random, actually, because sometimes we put an extra sticker and they just leave the sticker there and we could just use it, yeah, so they
Oh,
don't
yeah.
take it or anything. And even if it's been on one of the bags or something,
Yeah.
then, yeah. So, I
Picture
don't know, and
garbage
it's
truck.
like Jerry was saying, that
Yeah.
it depended on the employee that you get
Yeah.
that day, so.
Is it GFL that does
Mhm.
it? Oh, okay, we get Pioneer. We pick who we pay. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I will email that network of people and ask if they have any experience, even with like similar services, because it would just be good to know kind of what everyone
Yeah.
is doing, and then maybe I'll
Some people
report
are,
back with more of a clear.
That's cheaper
Clear
than going
outline.
to the transfer station.
It is, and especially because we don't have anywhere super
Yeah.
close, that,
Mhm.
yeah,
That's good, yeah.
okay, perfect. And then we sort of touched on your accessibility feedback, Shell.
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
And
you
I
wanted
just
to
think,
touch
I
on?
just would like to add
Yeah.
something that's quick and easy before building a building.
Mhm.
Is that just to add those hooks in
Yeah.
to existing accessible stalls, that's very inexpensive. and-
Oh, yeah, no,
Everywhere, actually,
seriously,
we all wanna
easy.
hang our purse, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and maybe the fold down,
Yep.
those little metal things that are on,
Mhm.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, those things are fine.
I bet
The handles, the buttons,
Yeah,
back buttons, those,
Mhm.
absolutely.
that's no big deal
Having
there.
hooks at wheelchair height. and everything, yeah.
I don't know if it would be appropriate now to bring up again the railings. The same friend of mine, who has experienced problems, if you're doing an inventory to check what needs to be done, how many places do we have, even like 2 steps? Even 2 steps without railings on both sides can be very, very difficult for some
Mhm.
people. Like they can't navigate it, right, without falling or risking a really bad fall. So making sure that there are railings where they need to be.
Yeah, they've all got one, haven't they? No, at least.
And I don't know
But that was-
necessarily washrooms, but
Yeah, that was good feedback, because I know we were looking more at the ramp one, but
Oh, right.
some people would still be able to do a couple stairs, but would need the railings.
would need, so her suggestion was that she thinks, because she used to live here, but she left because of different reasons. But that anywhere where there are steps going up, even 2 steps, there should be railings.
Yes, that-
Well,
for
3
safety.
steps is code, you have to railing. Yeah. 3 steps or more, you need a railing.
And I don't know, but is this a place to mention the crosswalks or no?
Yeah.
You can, because then I can comment more
The
officially.
timing,
So,
the timing to cross, like honestly, if you have any type, like it would be impossible for somebody to cross on most of our crosswalks, you know, even people with very young children, right? If the child is
kind of stalling, as you go across, you run out of time. Someone else mentioned to me, and I don't know if it's true because I haven't had the opportunity to see. She said by the Husky, so it'd be the intersection of Lillooet and Hot Springs Road, that if someone's making a left turn, she insisted, and I don't know, because I didn't really stand there long enough to check, that there's a crosswalk, someone gets to cross, but at the same time, someone has the right to make a left turn. That to me doesn't make sense, but she said that intersection was
Is it the left turn
dangerous.
onto Lillooet or the left turn back onto?
I guess, yeah, she said making the left turn at that intersection, that you're making a left turn and you've got the light to make the left turn, but at the same time, someone has.
Yeah,
Is that
you're
true?
accurate, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I walk that every day, but I mean, when you're looking at technically rules of the road,
Yeah.
the pedestrian has the right of way, you have to wait.
Is it an arrow or is it just green?
It's an arrow.
No, it's just green.
Oh, I see.
So
Oh,
you
yeah.
have the right to go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
But,
normal.
But at
yeah,
the same
it's-
time.
But
You
there
just
is
have
a
to follow
green
the
arrow
rules.
going that, one of them has an arrow when you're coming off of
And-
Lillooet.
Yeah, so I think on that one though, I think it's a don't walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know definitely going across from, what is it, by the Husky to like the post office,
Right.
Harrison Peppers. They have the left, like they have just a green light
Mhm.
and you can cross, but the pedestrian has the right of it, it's just
Right.
not
I
like
can't-
natural road rules.
Right.
People should.
Anyway, this was a different person mentioned to me about that, and I thought, okay, maybe, but again, the fact that there isn't enough time
Yeah,
to
that's always
safely
a problem.
cross
That has,
needs to be adjusted.
Yeah, the
I
car-
believe the main issue with our crosswalks is that they're on Ministry of Highways
Yes.
Oh.
roadways. So we have next to no control from everything I've
What is-
experienced so far. Is that correct, Councillor?
What is happening is, a couple of years ago, when I saw the minister, and hopefully it's gonna start next year, with Hot Springs Road and Lillooet, which I think is the worst state, is gonna get repaved. Well, I did ask that on Hot Springs Road with the new developments that we have to add at least another 4 crosswalks. And also Lillooet, it's been brought up several times, on the 2 crosswalks, put the bulbs out there to make it a less crossing, not so long for the people to cross, so it's
Oh, I get
less,
it, yeah.
less to, the distance in between the 2.
Mhm.
So they were in favour of that. Whether they'll add the solar lighting system like we have on the Coombs Bridge, I'm not sure, but we've asked for that as well. So that's in the plans. But of course, first thing we're doing on Hot Springs Road is the drainage.
Yeah.
That's why you've seen all the little square
Yeah.
cutouts.
I thought it
They're
was
checking
over.
for our infrastructure,
Yeah.
and then they're gonna do the whole drainage. And hopefully next year, both will be repaved, and hopefully the new crosswalks will come in.
So the
we-
crosswalks, will they be the flashy ones?
We've asked for
Right?
flashing lights
Yeah.
like we've done with Coombs,
Yeah.
which is a village street
Yeah.
by the bridge. We've asked for that, whether
Good.
they'll put those up, I'm not sure, but it's important because of all the new infrastructure that's happened on Hot Springs Road. They should have more crosswalks. And also the speed limit, we've asked to be
Yeah.
reduced from 60 to 50 as well. So that's another, whether that'll come through, I don't know, but it's all these asks and you wait and hope.
Mhm.
But, and then we also spoke with the minister this past September in Vancouver about the same things. So, at least they're moving forward with the drainage, that's being done, that's through a grant that we received. As well to go towards the drainage, which is pretty bad on Hot Springs Road. And the other thing, yeah, you're quite right, people who make a left there, if people are crossing, you have to wait, let them cross. But being a frequent passerby of that 4-way, which I think was great when they put them in with the crosswalks, where used to be four-way stop sign,
Right.
it's much safer,
Yeah.
obviously.
Right.
But there are many people who cross on the red hand,
Mhm.
unfortunately as well.
Mhm.
They do not cross on the white hand, they
Yeah.
cross on the red hand. They can't be bothered to wait a few seconds, so that's a big problem, especially when the place is busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, things are moving ahead with crosswalks. If you think of anything else, let us know.
I know I mentioned it to each of you, but do you know if they're considering like the tactile pieces at the base of the crosswalk to make sure, you know, somebody, they're blind, that they can.
Yeah, we've got that. I think
That was
tactile.
brought up
It's
in
on the
our-
list. It's on our list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, tactile is down. Yeah, I see in Victoria when they built the new road there with all the bicycle lanes, all tactile on their crossings.
Mhm.
Yeah. The other thing that for the budget, Christie, is Randall Park and the lagoon area. I think we definitely should have some Moby mats.
Yeah, Randall Park, yeah.
Randall Park is a heavily used area.
Yes.
We have that swimming lagoon there.
Yeah.
And of course, we only have the one on one side on the lagoon. So we need one for the other side of the new ramp as well. So we have on both sides. And also it wouldn't hurt maybe to have one down the middle as well of the lagoon, like opposite Muddy, you know, where the bandstand is, somewhere along there.
Yeah, if you're gonna have a washroom there.
Not sure what they cost, but I think it should be added to the budget.
They weren't too bad.
That's an idea that came from many years ago from Tofino, used them.
I apologize, I have another meeting at 11, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
All right.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Already.
Just quickly tack on with the movie mats, just when it comes time for placement, just ensuring them that they're high enough up so that the first part isn't in deep sand. To get to the movie
Sometimes
mats,
the
because
wind
I
will
did
blow the
notice,
sand on it,
yeah,
that's part of
not
it.
on it, but
Yeah. I know what you mean though.
yeah,
Should go
it
from
was
hard
like
surface
needs
to
to
Should go from hard surface
a little
to the,
higher
yeah.
up.
There's no
Yeah,
ledge.
because there was
Yeah.
one that I noticed that was a little.
Yeah, that was the Rendell one. I think that they actually, that was just kind of like a leftover piece.
Oh,
And I think that they
yeah.
almost put it there for a different
For strollers and.
use than
That's
than it was
that-
originally intended,
Yes.
just to cause confusion for
Okay.
people.
Mhm.
I think it supported some kayaks getting in the
Mhm,
water and things
mhm.
like that compared to what the movie
Okay.
mats are really meant for. But I think the alternative was that that little stretch was just gonna be sitting in our
That's a good. that's
in
a
our
good
storage
point.
area, so once, if we can get a bit more
Mhm.
length, then
Yeah,
it could all, it could have both those features.
yeah, because if you can't get to the movie mat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is kind of a use of it.
Exactly.
Totally does. And I'm just impressed to see them when I came out here. I was happy to see them. Don't see that very often.
What's that?
Those Moby mats. I was really impressed when I came.
Well, I was in Tofino and I saw them there and I thought.
Yeah, I
we should
know.
Try and get that.
That's
you
wonderful.
know.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I think, but unfortunately, like Michelle says, if it's only used for the disability people on there, whether it's a wheelchair or whether it's sticks or whatever, but it's used by everybody else, and that's why you get accumulation of sand
Yeah.
all the time on that. So especially the one opposite the Black Forest, that's heavily used, that Moby mat.
But it is inclusive, so. it's for
No, it's
everybody.
perfect.
Mhm,
No,
That's
it's
right.
perfect.
But also the wind,
Mhm,
the
it's
wind
fine.
will,
Yeah.
trust me.
And they still will function with a little bit of sand on them, but
Yeah.
maybe, yeah,
Off-roading.
yeah. For buying.
Anything else on your minds? to add to
No, that's
this?
great, guys.
We give Christie quite a bit, so
Yeah.
move
that's a lot.
forward with there.
When's the next meeting?
Well, we'll let you know on that
Oh,
one.
whenever.
Yeah, if we do one before, I don't know what we do, another one this December,
All right.
but if there's any, if there's one in January, we'll let you know, but like I said, council at their retreat will probably be discussing how the committee's gonna be, how they're gonna be, it's gonna be every 2 months, every 3 months, every month, whatever.
Okay, sounds good. Where'd you get that?
Oh, did you? I was
We
just
don't
saying,
have one.
you only have these, they're great.
I don't have one.
Oh,
Somebody at the
I have not one.
we got some at the front
See?
still?
And I missed that, that's why.
Yeah, no problem. Kaylee will
Did
grab
you
you.
get one of these as well?
No.
Make this one?
Okay,
One at
good.
the front desk.
All right, I'll
You'll
grab
grab
it.
it?
I'll grab it.
A resident one as well, please, Kate.
Oh, thanks, I'm.
No, this is good. This is a great little resource.
That's really neat.
This one.
Yep. Mhm.
Would you like to motion to adjourn?
Oh,
Yeah, we
sorry.
need an
That's
adjournment.
okay.
Moved by Sharon, seconded
There we
by
go.
Michelle.
Shelley.
All in favour? Thank you very much. Thank you, folks,
Merry
for your
Christmas.
input. Merry Christmas.
Hey.
That was good.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Oh, I have something on the printer too.
Okay,
so you're set.
Yeah, have a good Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, you too.
Have a
You good?